On this episode of AV Week, Sennheiser gets rid of their consumer business. Extron deploys an NAV AV over IP system. And taking a look at IMCCA at CEDIA Expo. All that and more next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 508, recorded Friday, May 14th, 2021. Handle the truth.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Atlas IED, innovative audio solutions for every business environment. And by Draper.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audio-visual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to discuss the news and information we have gathered this week. First and foremost, my favorite Bronx resident. Her name is Charmaine Torella. I can't say it correctly, but she works with Lyrics. Welcome, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Tell people how to say your last name correctly.
Charmaine Torella.
There we go.
Again, you could say Torella. It's
yeah, but I can't say it. I've never been able to roll my R's. Just pointing that out there. Big, dumb Midwestern American. All right, also with us is Mariella Palat. Marielle is from Bridges System Integration. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, thank you. She is down by Virginia Way. And also with us is Toby is a coworker of mine now. He works in Grand Rapids up in Michigan. Toby Tungle from CTI. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Really quickly, a couple things happening this week. We're going to put all of the stories that we sent these fine folks on the list, which means that there's like 4 or 5 stories. But one that kind of dropped yesterday that I want to bring up here, and I kind of threw a curveball at these folks, and so I apologize in advance to them, not to you, because this is the first time you're hearing this. CEDIA Expo actually announced this week that they are welcoming IMCCA. And IMCCA, real quickly, stands for the Interactive Multimedia and Collaborative Communications Alliance. If you're not familiar with IMCCA, here is the Cliff Notes version, and I'm going to get an email from David Danto screaming at me for doing this wrong, but here it is. IMCCA is a group that's really focused on unified communications and collaboration, the UCC space. They've done a number of events at Infocom. They've done a number of standalone events. Matter of fact, one of the last things that I did pre-COVID was with the IMCCA and David in New York. And we had a meeting at Microsoft's headquarters. A lot of really good, it was a 2 or 3 day collaborative experience. Our buddy Chris Netto, we did a live AV in the AM, actually from Barracks, Charmaine. So that was one of the last things that we did in that space. IMCCA is really concentrated on the UC platforms. Makes a lot of sense, at least to me, the fact that they're going to CEDIA. But it's very interesting. CEDIA, again, is a residential show. They are welcoming in a group that is focused on UC and primarily has done so in the pro space. Charmaine, we'll start with you on this. CEDIA happens the first week of September over in Indianapolis. Interesting to me, but what do you think? What's your take on the fact that CEDIA is bringing in a group that is so focused on UC and, again, has predominantly been in the pro space?
I think that's a good move on CEDIA's part, right? Because since we've been going through this pandemic, what has happened is a lot of knowledge workers pretty much went to work from home, wherever that home may be. For some executive level managers and mid-managers, they wanted to get the same look and feel of collaboration in their residential space. The difficulty, as we all know, commercial and residential, integrating in those two spaces, it's a night and day, it's not exact. So a lot of these people are now integrating to the home, but they want to still tie into the commercial space that they go in every now and again remotely. So the UC part of that, where people are using Teams and Zooms to tie into these different rooms, whether it's residential or commercial, is really key. And it's smart that CEDIA is picking up on this, and probably because their business experienced a great uptick during this pandemic because of it. And they're like, okay, you know what? They can do both. And that's happening. A lot of workers are saying, oh yeah, I want the same. I want it to be like a mirror image of what I experience in the office, exactly close to it in my house. And I want it all to tie together with the UC platforms that we're using, where I can do it from either or. So it's good that they picked up on that. I think it's a smart move to start doing that. And for the benefit of IMCCA, which is not many people are familiar with it still in the AV industry, it's another way to give them better exposure, which is what they need. IMCCA really needs a lot more exposure.
Absolutely. Toby, take a look at this from a couple different sides. One of the debates, I guess, last year was who's going to own the work from home space. I was actually just on a show with David Maldo and our buddy Kelly Perkins, and I made the comment. I don't think that what we're living now is our new normal. I don't, and Mr. Danto and I will disagree on that. I don't think that we're going to know what our new normal is for about 2 years. Yes, certainly hybrid working will be a part of that. I don't buy into the fact that it's going to be 60% of the workforce or 70% of the workforce, because there are many people who just like to be in person. They want to be in person. They even need to be in person. So all of that, there still will be a segment of folks who will want to work from home, who will work from home, who need a professional system in their house. So a move like this, does this kind of indicate that CEDIA, the organization, and CEDIA Expo, who again is not owned by CEDIA, it's owned by Emerald, is looking at this as almost like an area of competition with the commercial space.
Well, that's actually pretty interesting. So I do agree that they're looking at it as a competition purely from the fact that while we all migrated from the office to the home office to figure out how to do our daily jobs, and some of us, to your point, did a really good job in that transition, and others didn't. They tried to find their way, figure out what technology worked for them, what didn't work for them. 18 months is kind of where I'm hoping we figure out what that new normal is. But I think CEDIA is really looking to tap into what we're doing in the commercial market, bringing that home, and then supporting, the technology that people need to have in their homes for a more professional setting. When my kids went virtual last year, it was, every other platform you could think of. Cameras didn't work, audio was terrible. And, us as AV integrators, we want to have that really good experience and that really good quality, whether we're at home, sitting in a Starbucks, on a plane, or at the office. So I think what really that they're looking to do is really expand that footprint, expand that knowledge base, get a little more understanding of what we're doing in the commercial market, and try to bring some of that stuff and those standards and processes and procedures back into that home office environment.
All right, Mariella, the last word on this one. Is this something where we're going to have to worry about the residential folks, and not necessarily the residential folks, right? Because there are people inside CEDIA who will argue with me all day long that Resi-Commercial is not a large portion of their membership. And I will consistently tell them that they're wrong. Because the people that I know, I have 2 or 3 dear friends here in St. Louis that are residential dealers primarily, right? They're members of CEDIA. Actually, both of them have been on the CEDIA board. They both do light commercial. They both do, restaurants. They both do hospitality. Is this something that we're going to have to, as a commercial space, start competing with, those folks who are in that in between zone of residential and light commercial, where they see this as, what, if I can get a dealership with a commercial product, and I don't want to pick on anybody here, because we all know, right? If you're working in commercial, switching or commercial video processing, there's one group of folks you're going to pick on, you're going to buy from, and another. But is this something where we see this as really a competition? And if so, what can commercial dealers do, and maybe what should Infocom do or AVWeek do as a response to this?
So I'm not sure my answer is going to be exactly the one that you want to hear, but I do think that moving home and working from home has led to a big transition. And for me, one of the biggest things that I noticed was I video call with my grandmother a lot more than I did before. And for her, communicating with a lot of different members in our family, she almost wants a Zoom room in her house. One display with a control panel, easy to use, that she can use to connect with family members here in Peru, everywhere. And my mother recently started working on an assisted living project, which is just one home. It houses less than 10 people, and they also really want that Zoom room feel. I think the technology in the home is adapting so quickly We have a smart home with Alexa products everywhere. We're using technology in a lot more facets than we did in the past. That it wouldn't shock me to see the evolution of that technology, especially with the move to work from home, really grow and change as video becomes a primary source of communication for people across different platforms. So I think it may be the way things are trending.
Thanks so much for watching this first segment of AV Week. To check out the rest of the episode for free, click on the link below or go by the website, avnation.tv. It's avnation.tv.